Does this Bonnie-and-Clyde-style Frankenstein story deliver a fresh take on the classic Bride, or does this retelling reach a little too high for its own good? Set in 1930 Chicago, The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, starring Jessie Buckley, Christian Bale, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Penelope Cruz. Welcome to the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. Your host, Jared and Emmanuel, here to give you a movie review. Today we'll be talking about the new release, The Bride. It stars Christian Bale playing a Frankenstein monster. He's lonely and he asks a scientist to create him a companion. They bring back a murdered woman to life and they turn her into the bride. This take on the movie is a little bit different because instead of her being a passive character like in old films, this version gives the bride her own personality and rage. She and the monster become outlaw lovers on a violent rampage, kind of like a gothic Bonnie and Clyde story.
Yep.
So let's talk about this movie a little bit. Let me know, what did you think was your favorite, like the best thing about this movie?
The best thing about the movie for me was definitely the whole set, the makeup, how they made it look in the 1930s, because I like the fact that it wasn't overdone. It was done just right. The whole, like, how she looked, how she had those black, I guess they were burn marks.
I thought it was something she spit up, like whatever fluid they put into her. Because I remember when they brought her back to life, she immediately, coughed some black stuff up.
Yeah, so I don't know if they were burn marks, but anyway, she couldn't get that stuff off. That shit, that was just on her.
Yeah.
And so that was done well, and I think the way they did Frankenstein, but the whole costumes and everything I liked that the most.
Yes, I thought the performances were the best part for me. I thought Jessie Buckley did a great job. Her character was like crazy, like really psycho and almost borderline split personality. It was giving me very like Harley Quinn. She kind of reminded me a lot of Harley Quinn, and just the way she was psychotic and her personality just being like just completely crazy. And how I'm not sure what the whole thing was with the lady who was telling the story, and it seemed like she would kind of like take control of her or speak through her, but when she was delivering those lines, I thought it was a great job. I thought Christian Bale did a great job. And also Penelope Cruz, she was also like my favorite in the movie. I thought she did it, even though her role was small, she made herself, very big in this movie, and I thought that was really good. What was your favorite scene from this movie?
So there were a couple of scenes that I could remember, though. The first one was definitely when the doctor electronically shocks the bride back to life, and she, the whole Frankenstein, they hook her up to all these things and just like shocks her back to life. That was definitely one scene. Another one's when she's rolling down the stairs in the beginning, like before they brought her back, when she was like in the club going crazy. She's rolling down the stairs and you can see her like neck cracks and her leg breaks, and that gruesome fall stairs of how she died. That scene was memorable. And one last one was that's worth a mention was they actually had a dance number. Remember that there was this one part and they had a dance number.
I actually like that scene a lot too, even though I thought it was kind of random and I didn't understand, and we'll get back to that for sure. I didn't understand why they broke out in a dance like that, but that was honestly like, it was just kind of silly and funny, but it did make me laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of like made the people in the club dance, kind of like the Addams Family. You know how like they just like people started like twitching and they started dancing out of nowhere.
All that.
And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? So that scene was cool too.
Yes, definitely. I would say, I like the gory stuff. So when they were being harassed by those two guys outside the club and Frankenstein stomped their heads in,
oh yeah,
I thought that was pretty sick. I wasn't sure if we were gonna get anything like that in this movie, but that was one of my favorite scenes for sure. And then of course the dancing was good. A little strange and random, but it did make me laugh, as I said. And another favorite, I thought the beginning scene was kind of wild, and I want to talk about that a little bit too. But I liked the opening of the movie. It was pretty wild. Now as far as strengths of this movie, I will say the storytelling. This is like a different interpretation of a Frankenstein movie. It felt like Bonnie and Clyde, gangster, they're going on crime sprees, they're in love. They're just like, because originally they were locked up inside that, laboratory where the scientists created them. And then they go out for a night and they wind up killing some people. And then they have to go from Chicago to New York. And it just, and then they go to New York and they go to the movie theater and they start getting recognized and they're on the run. So I thought the storytelling, aside from the acting, the storytelling was a great strength for the movie. What about you?
Some strengths. I mean, like I said, I like how they made the characters look. It was done well. I like the artistry of the movie. I like the drama, like the ride it took you on, like the main character, the bride.
Mm-hmm.
She Jessie Buckley. I think she did an amazing job playing her character. Like she had these tics and these like I don't know if it was bipolar disorder, but she had, what is it, like Tourette's or something. Like she would be saying something and then all of a sudden like blah 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 blah, blah say something else completely and then go back to what she was saying. And I don't think she's like that in real life, but she did that very well. So definitely the acting, the costumes, the set, the makeup. There were some really big actors in it too. So, and they all did,
Yeah, good cast for sure.
Good cast.
Yeah.
So that was strong.
All right, what about the weaknesses? What did you think? I'll start for sure. I think the movie tried to do a lot. I mean, there was like dark comedy, it was a horror movie, there was romance, there was musical sequences, it was a gangster movie. And like when that happens, it jumps around a lot, because when they did the dancing at the when they were at that party, like it was just out of nowhere. And even though it was funny, it kind of throws you off because I wasn't expecting that in the movie. And the plot, I mean, with all that going on, it's kind of hard to keep the focus on the main story of the plot when there's so many different,
Elements.
Yeah, different elements.
That's
and the movie starts becoming crowded because it's shifting from one tone to the next. And yeah, I thought it definitely dragged the movie down a little bit. What about you?
No, I think you're right. I think they might have tried to do a little too much. Like that dance number was just, I was like, what am I watching here? Not in a bad way. Like it was fun to watch something like that. But I can see what you're saying with there being so many elements, like so many pieces. But I think that's kind of what made it good too. Kind of, I guess it just depends on the person. But as far as for me, a nitpick, I honestly think it was done very well. It was a good watch. I just think that whole part of the story, so remember that one detective who ended up being, we found out he was a crooked cop?
The guy?
Yeah, the guy who she shot in the foot, and then he gave Penelope Cruz's character his detective badge. Like that whole crooked cop story of it, that guy. I wish I didn't even recognize that the bride knew him from before. But that might have been my fault. But then we find out he's a crooked cop working for, I guess, that one big kahuna guy. But I wish they had dove a little bit deeper into that story. Like I wish they built up his character to where we knew without question that he's a crooked cop working for the big kahuna guy, and the bride, basically by bringing her back to life, kind of continued her rampage. I wish they had built up that story a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I might have missed that a little bit. Like the part of him being a crooked cop, I knew that he knew her because he was calling her name. But just we're kind of getting into spoiler territory now, so spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. But like in the beginning of the movie, they have that whole scene where she's there with the mafia men, and then they kill her, and then they bring her back to life, and you know she has that outburst at the party, and all those dudes are still there, so they recognize her, and they kind of bring it back to full circle. Yeah, I think they should have focused on that story for sure a little bit more and added that as a subplot. That would have been good, like with them on a crime spree and then being recognized by the mafia men and then having them tell her. Like, I think they could have done a lot more with that because the guy didn't even, like, he was tailing her towards the end, but then all those cops came in and they lit her up and he didn't even like get to do anything and he wound up getting arrested. So it's just like,
Yeah, I wish they had like built up a whole gangster like out like she from the beginning of the movie, she's out here like trying to tell these gangster guys off, you know, she's like trying to like you can tell that she was talking about how remember how she was talking about she was like, "Hey, I guess you guys cheat and get away with it." Remember that?
Marheen, yeah.
And I wish they had, you know, kind of just gave us more on that because there was a lot of love story, a lot of like on the run, a lot of like emotion, like they always try to have fun and stuff, but they never follow that story, which was kind of like the reason she died and the reason like, you know, they're on the run and stuff from all these corrupt. So I wish they went a little bit deeper on that.
Yeah, another big thing in the movie too was the bride's identity. Like she was basically made up like for what Frankenstein wanted her to be. She wasn't like her own person. And eventually, like even though they're partners, she eventually rejects like the whole idea that she was created to belong to him. And, you know, that's kind of like when that cop came around that time. Remember when they were like under the passageway and she had the gun pointed at him? And then Penelope Cruz's character came out and shot Frankenstein in the leg.
Yeah.
Like that was around the time she was just saying, I don't want this, you know? And this is basically like a retelling of Frankenstein. Usually the bride is more like submissive and, you know, is in love with Frankenstein. But this time they wanted to give her basically her own identity. And I'm wondering, like, do you think that was good for this movie, or do you think they should have stuck to the original telling and had her be like more submissive to Frankenstein?
I think Jessie Buckley did a great job playing the bride. Like I don't like her performance, you know, what she did. Well, you know, if this movie gets an A for me, it would have been her performance. It gets an A, so no, I think she should have done what she did.
All right, great answer. Well, that's all I've got. Oh, well, let me give my score. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. For me, how about you give your score first?
It's tough, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I'll explain what I'm thinking. I'm just going to put it out there what I'm thinking. I want to give it an A because the performances were great. Everything was great. And the stuff that I'm nitpicking on, I'm trying to think like, is that one or two things that we nitpicked on, is that stopping the movie from getting an A? And I think not. I think I'm going to give the movie an A.
So you're going to give it an A?
Yeah.
All right. You recommend it to the people?
Recommend to see it. I'm not even a horror fan. I'm not a romance fan. However, the movie, it's just an artistic, great performances. It's artistic. Frankenstein movies don't come out that much, not when compared to like Dracula vampire movies. And I mean, I'm going to give it an A.
For me, I mean, I thought that this movie was good for sure. It might not be everyone's cup of tea because it tries to do a lot, but just based on the cast, the performances, the storytelling, if you can get over a couple of things, I think this is a very enjoyable movie for sure. I don't think I will watch it again, but I'm glad I watched it, and I'm probably going to give it a 6 out of 10. Just to be honest. Would I recommend it? Yes, but I feel like this is something you probably could watch at home on streaming. I wouldn't have rushed to go see this in the theater if we weren't doing a episode on it. But yeah, that's my score and recommendation. And that's all we've got for The Bride, y'all. So thanks for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Let us know what you thought of the review. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast. And that's all we got for y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next episode, all right?
See y'all later.